Well, it's the unknown mechanic back again with my squeaky stool. And this channel is for shop owners that don't have technicians that are quite up to par, or if you're an aspiring technician and you want to raise your level of proficiency. And also the homeowner do-it-yourselfer who may want to tackle this job on your own, or at least if you see how it's done correctly with the right parts and the right tools, techniques, then you know what to expect when you do take it into the shop. And so this will be the third time that I've done a stripped spark plug thread repair with a Heli-coil. This is going to be a short one. I'm going to try to do it in one take, and if you want more detail and more explanation, I encourage you to view my long full-length spark plug Heli-coil repair. So we'll start here. This is a Stihl top-handled arborist saw, MS200T, and oh no, it belongs to my worst customer, Bert Toadberger. Oh, I've kicked this guy out of the shop dozens of times and he just keeps coming back. So I'm going to have to clean up his mess. His equipment is junk. Anyway, in order to prep this to do a good job, it's necessary to get access to the exhaust port. Part of the chip mitigation process involves positioning the piston at a specific location so that only the exhaust port is open. I don't want any chips going down the stairs and into the basement and damaging the main bearings in the crankshaft, crankcase area. So I have removed the two lower tank housing screws, and that allows me to spread the housing in order to to get the muffler out. And then I've turned the crankshaft until I can view the piston and make sure that only the upper part of the exhaust port is open, and that's how I'm gonna evacuate some of the chips that escape the grease. But so in the process of taking the muffler out, I've noticed a few other problems. I'm going to bring the camera in here. Now I see that two of the screws holding the muffler halves together are not there. They vibrated and fell out. And also when I took off the muffler, I noticed that the exhaust gasket was partially blocking the exhaust port, and that's what I found, and that's not good, because that'll contribute to a power loss, and even more importantly, some of the exhaust gases will be reflected backwards, and the piston will get hot and could possibly score the piston. So yeah, we're definitely, when we put that back on, we're going to put that back on correctly. It's got to be on there right. I also noticed that one of the screws holding the muffler on is the wrong thread pitch. This is a self-tapping type of coarse thread, not an M5 by 0.8 machine screw thread. And this is the correct one. This one is incorrect. Also, one of the washers was wrong. It's got a plain flat washer, whereas the correct washer is a spring steel conical washer where there's a cone on one side and a cup on the other side. And the cup side, goes towards the muffler, and the cone side goes towards the head of the screw. And that helps for thermal expansion when the muffler is expanding and contracting, when it gets hot and cold. That spring conical washer helps maintain constant pressure on the fastener and prevents the screw from loosening and falling out. The other thing I noticed, there's lots of problems with this saw, but the sprocket is very badly worn. Very, very worn. It's going to need a new sprocket. I'm going to have to let them know. Anyway, we're going to move on to preparing the tools. Now, I have a 10 millimeter kit, which I have used a few times now. Most of the new low emission chainsaws are using a CMR6H NGK 10 millimeter plug. And the older saws, like this one, is using the old large 14 millimeter. And the newer 10 millimeter ones, they dissipate heat better when that plug is threaded into the cylinder. And so that is slowly becoming more and more popular and common. And as a result, I have used my M10 kit here a few times. But we're going to be using the 14 kit today. And in my long video, I explained the inception of the mystery tool. And we're going to be using that to help us. And also I am going to be using the modified piloted tap. Now, in a very, very small displacement chainsaw, this is a 35 cc machine. The cylinder is only 40 millimeters in diameter, and that's a pretty small bore. And these Heli-coil STI two-stage taps, they have to thread through what's left of the damaged threads and then oversize the hole with the enlarged STI portion of the tap. And on a very, very small cylinder diameter, there may not be enough room for this tool to go all the way through. And let's get a flashlight. Okay, you can see it coming through there. Well, a lot of that tap is going to come through to completely oversize the hole, and you don't want the tap to run into the cylinder wall on the opposite side. And I've run into this before on very small cylinders, and that's why I had to get a second tap and cut most of the pilot off. So I can start with the unmodified tap and get the threads started, and then before I go all the way through and bump into the cylinder wall, I don't want to risk that. I can remove this tap and then finish the hole with the modified tap. And so that's what I'm going to do. And to help me start, I have the mystery tool here, and that's going to sit. It's going to sit right on that gasket surface, and that will help start the tap straight. So with that sitting on that gasket surface, and I drop that tap down there, that's going to start me so that it's not crooked. And then when the finished job, the crush washer will evenly compress all the way around that, and I'll be as it was intended. So I've got my favorite cutting fluid, and I am going to grease not the whole tap, only the pilot. This is going to catch the chips, most of them I hope, and extract a lot of the chips when I back this out. But I am not greasing the second stage of the tap. You do not use grease as your cutting fluid. You use cutting fluid. Okay. It's starting. Okay. So I'm going to add my cutting fluid. Lots and lots of cutting fluid. And it is not necessary to back the tap up. You apply pressure with a T-handle, pushing on both of these at the same time, and that prevents a lean over. If you only have one handle and you're pushing, the tap is going to lean. You want a T-handle to equalize the torque. And now it's in far enough, I can remove the helper tool, and I'm going to add more cutting fluid. And I'm going to go a few more turns, and then I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to finish it with the modified, shorter version. Okay, quite a few of the chips have been captured. Okay, and I've re-engaged the threads that the longer tool has started. And I suspect that just a few more turns and it's going to go all the way through. I'm pretty close. Yeah, it's through. All the way through. And I have not bumped into the cylinder wall on the back side. Okay. Yeah, what we're going to do is I'm going to come in for a close-up. can get a good look at that. That's prior to the installation of the insert. And we're going to use low pressure air. And I'm going to blow through the spark plug hole first. Not too much pressure because I don't want to blow the piston down, and the chips are going to escape out of the exhaust port. And then we're going to repeat in the other direction. And the chips are all gone. It's a pretty good view. No chips left. Okay, now we are going to load the winder in the heli-coil's free state. It is larger than the hole, and that's why it has to be wound up small enough that it will enter the hole. And let's just drop this on here so that it hooks in the tang. And just like that. And you put it into the funnel and turn it, and it winds it up, shrinks it. Okay, then you want to get it out so it's just about flush, and put it over the hole and wind it in. We'll take that out, and you can see what's going on here. And as you can see, it's not 100% in the hole, and but I don't need the winding tool anymore. I've removed it. I have very good visibility without it, and I've got to turn it about another turn and a half, and it's got to be about a third of a turn, quarter of a turn below the surface. Now, heli-coils, if they are properly installed, they are stronger than the original threads in the parent material of the cylinder. There's a lot of people that are skeptical of that, and maybe they've seen a heli-coil failed, and that's because the heli-coil was improperly installed without using cutting fluid, cutting the threads with a dry tool, and that will immediately dull the tool, and it will cut oversized threads if you do not use cutting fluid, and greatly shorten the life of your cutting tools. And also somebody who is inexperienced and is wobbling around, making an oversized crooked hole, and then installing a heli-coil in a gigantic hole and expecting it to hold. So right now what we have is there's a tang left in there. And what I'm going to do is get my favorite needle nose pliers, and I'm going to grab that tang and I'm going to pull it out. And then the job is, the repair is done. Now what you don't want to do is leave this tang inside the engine. If this tang is not retrieved and it is left inside of the cylinder, it will destroy the piston and cylinder. Now, these chips, this aluminum alloy that the cylinder is made out of, and these chips are, is very soft and a lot softer than the chrome plating on the cylinder surface. And one or two chips that are left in there are not really going to do any damage. It's not good, and you need to try to do your very best to mitigate your chip and retrieve all of the chips that you possibly can. But if you leave one chip in there, it's not going to do any damage. And so anyway, I'm not going to show you, the reassembly of the muffler and the plug. My long version video, I torque a new plug in there with a torque wrench repeatedly, testing the strength. This is the short one. So if you like my videos, please subscribe to the channel, leave some comments. If you, again, want further detail, watch the long version. I'm also going to be doing a Honda generator with a very long reach 4-stroke plug that is stripped out. I'm going to be doing that in the near future. So signing off for today, it's the Unknown Mechanic.